Boat life.
Hello, Erden.
Hi, how are you?
It's good to see you. There
Thank
you
you.
are. You're on the boat.
I am. It's creaking. It's blowing hard out there, 35, 40 knots.
Oh,
And this weekend it's below 50 knots here. So,
wonderful. Wonderful. Wow, that's a little taste of what it's going to be like down south. Oh, looks like you paused there. Uh-oh. Did we lose you
are we
there?
having connection problems?
Let me see. My internet connection is unstable. I thought it was going to be yours. Let's see here.
Because you froze for a moment there. And if it's on my end, I can go to cellular and use
No, I,
my.
I think it might have been on my end. Maybe just because we just booted up. I don't know. But yeah, we can go on cellular if we need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Very cool. So I want to introduce briefly, but we this is our third time chatting about this, right? So we don't need to go over all of the stuff before, although there's definitely I have some questions about some of the things that were left to be done from our last talk. But yeah, in brief, I'm here with Erden Eruc, and he is about to do the Golden Globe race, the single hand nonstop race around the world. And we're meeting here to hear about the plans and the prep for doing something like this. And I think it could be helpful for people that are looking to do even just local cruising to kind of see what's going on in the head of somebody who's trying to sail around the world on an old boat and do it as quickly as possible. Um, do you want to add anything to my brief introduction there, Erden?
No, I think we're going to hash it out
Yeah.
further as we talk. So, yes, I am getting ready for the Golden Globe race, the fourth edition of the original Globe race that was run in 1968, restarted on the 50th anniversary in 2018. And since then, every 4 years, they're repeating it. So, 2026 is the next edition of this, in which I will participate.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so stoked to follow along. I feel a little bad for your competition because I know what they're up against. I just want to jump in. Let's see. So when we spoke last, one of the things I've been thinking about since we spoke was how you've resolved some of the issues we talked about. Chafe being a concern with the not allowing modern materials like Dyneema.
Yeah.
Could you explain what you? Yeah, I think it was masthead issues and chafe were some concerns and how.
Correct. The Genoa halyard chafing was a problem for the previous owner, and he had to drop the Genoa, shorten the Genoa halyard, and then rehoist, and he kept doing that. And we thought we addressed it by putting a lead right below the sheave on the front of the mast to redirect the halyard. But that didn't resolve the problem, and even that was chafing back and forth. So now we're looking at putting a restrainer there. The restrainer, halyard restrainer, comes with a block, a pulley
Okay.
in it. So instead of a hard edge that holds the halyard in place and then rubs back and forth or up and down, this is going to be able to move with the halyard and reduce the chafe. So that's the next one. And I also got some anti-chafe tape and athletic tape, and I'm just going to tape that up
Yeah.
quite a bit to avoid any big problems. And then there's some issue inside the mast as well, and we will be able to look at that in the boatyard. The mast is already in the boatyard. I brought the boat from Lagos to Portimao, where we will lift the boat up February 17th. These delays are just piling up, and that's making me very anxious.
So let me, so how far do we have till takeoff?
September 6th is the start of the race.
Okay.
August 10th, all skippers have to report to La Salvador for a prologue race that's going to be 5 days out to a waypoint and back to test the HF radio and tracking systems. And then during that, I don't need to be alone. I'm hoping my wife will be with me, Nancy, and we'll do that together. And my departure from Portimao, I'm hoping will be around March 20th. So I have just about a month to finish the work here. The standing rigging work, parts ordered, and all that has started this week. And um, as soon as we lift the boats, we will be removing the hydrovane at the back, repainting the hull, and installing two hydrovane drive units in the back. One will be a spare that I will have in place without a rudder blade or vane. And then I will use the primary one until such time that that might fail. And then I will switch up and keep going, because the problem that the previous owner had was a failure of a cast metal piece at the head of the hydrovane, which required him to do a stop at Puerto Montt in Chile. And with a stop, he was taken out of official classification after having led the field the whole way. And he turned the Cape Horn in fourth place after losing 10 days in the process. And even then, he caught everybody and got line honors, but he wasn't in the official classification because it has to be nonstop. So to
That's the,
avoid such an,
is that
yeah,
the, is that called the Chinchester?
Chichester.
Chichester?
Yeah, Sir Francis Chichester was the first to go around the world. His intention was to go nonstop. Uh, he accomplished this with one stop at Sydney after his wind vane failed. And then, of course, the gauntlet was down, thrown, and the who was going to do this nonstop? Everybody was preparing
Yeah.
secretly with the boats and getting it together. The golden age of sailing, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
uh, voyage of the madmen. Nine skippers were in different stages of preparation, and the uh, Golden Globe race was announced by Sunday Times newspaper, who got the new word about this, and they said we're going to give you a £5,000 prize money for the fastest arrival, and the first arrival will get a trophy, and you can start anytime. They said so. It was a loosely structured race, and that brought us the stories of Sir Francis Chichester and Moitessier and Crowhurst. All these characters were
Yeah.
involved in the race. Uh,
Yeah, it's quite a tough act to follow. Those are some there's some pretty amazing sailors there. Um, I've never seen a redundant wind vane system on the back of the boat, so I'm really curious to see this. I love this idea because that was one of my things that I wanted to ask you about was what what the ways that you've sort of tried to mitigate that fear, that risk of losing your steering single-handing out there.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've never seen anything like that. I like that. I always, with my students, I like to quote the Navy SEALs, the one is none and two is one approach to things. So yeah, that
Yeah.
redundancy is so that's got to be great. So I love to see a picture of this, how this is going to work out. Um,
I have some examples I can share screen if you
oh,
want and show a couple.
yes, let's do
Hold
that.
on. So you have disabled screen sharing for me.
Yeah, let me see. It's you've got more experience with this, I'm sure. Let me see. I've done this. let's see here. Um, host tools. Oh, that's
Maybe right click on my profile there and
enable waiting room. No, lock meeting. No, this is terrible.
it doesn't matter. So what's going to happen is right now I have a hydro vane centered on the transom down the center line, and we're going to install two drive units, separate them by about 14 to 16 inches.
mhm.
And then at any given time, only one will be in use. The one that I have right now will be refurbished, and I'm getting a second drive unit. And the mounts for this are very hefty cast metal parts that make it universal, so it can be adjusted, and you cut the bracket, the strut lengths to size to fit the unique geometry of each boat. So I am considering a custom build to make a cage for this thing that may do away with the cast metal parts and reduce the weight. And since I'm going to add more weight to the transom with the extra drive unit, I can move some of my chain from the rear to the front. I have 16 meters of chain, 8 meters in the front, 8 meters in the back right now, evenly trimmed. I can take that from the back and move it forward and so level the boat a bit. And so I am going to look at what is possible with this. And at this point, I think my primary goal will be to finish nonstop and then sail well, of course, at all times, and make no mis make try to make few mistakes because mistakes set us back. Take care of the boat, don't break the boat, and then stay sane throughout.
Yes, stay sane.
Once I achieve all of those, then I am going to do well overall. So,
Yes. Well, that hits on a couple of things I was going to ask about. I let's just stick on the hardware. I just did a quick review of our last conversation, and I think it was the last one, and then we can move on. So we spoke about chafe. We spoke about uh, two spinnaker poles, and
yes,
you need to demonstrate a jury rig.
yes. Keep talking.
Yeah. And I guess the masthead that's going to get addressed when the mast gets picked coming up here. But yeah, I'm curious about the rigging aspect of this prep because of course
Yeah.
there's yeah.
So the mast is laying down right now
Oh, it is.
at the boat yard, and we're going to keep talking about that this week with the rigger, and uh, it'll be done to my satisfaction. I have no doubt about that. So we broke. Just a moment. One more piece I want to get. So these were the chain plates that I had held at the bottom with 2L brackets.
Okay.
These flimsy things held the mast up by the shrouds and the diagonals. So six of these. And one of them broke a screw. And I said, this is way under designed. I don't like that. And these are 10 millimeter screws, right?
Yeah.
So we redid those. So for the diagonals, this is what I'm going to be using.
Beautiful.
This hefty chunk.
That is beautiful.
12 millimeter bolts will go through it. They're not welded. So if there's any issue, I can replace it to something different. And then we're going to have matching brackets underneath. So those weren't done yet and we couldn't install. And these are for the diagonals. So there will be four of these pieces right here, like that.
Right.
All right. This is what's going to go for the shrouds. Down from the spreaders will come the shrouds attached to this. And on the inside, inboard side of this will be this loop to receive the spinnaker pole
Ah,
in case I am dismasted and I cut everything and ditch the rig overboard. And then I can hook the spinnaker pole to this on either side. And then I have also a horseshoe shaped piece at the very top that clips. And then all the forestay and two backstays will attach to it at the top, and I'll raise it, and then I'll hoist my hanged on storm jib and everything else. So that's the plan right now.
Okay, so
This is
that sounds amazing. That sounds
the
awesome. So
big
you're
piece.
talking about like an A-frame like this with the poles on either
Yeah.
side, kind of going up. Yeah. So
So
they asked. Go ahead.
they are equal length spinnaker pole raise. Yeah.
So it's when we spoke
Keep
last,
going.
you had to do a demonstration of jury rig. Of course, you can't really dismast the boat, but what's involved with that?
So well, I can't do it until this chain plate, the two chain plates on either side are installed, and we never got around to that.
Okay.
Since March of 25, when I brought the boat back, the mast has been down and nothing was done at Lagos. I came back in October and I left in November, and these above deck components were finally finished on the last week that I was there in November,
Hmm.
and they never got installed. So here I am again, and I brought the boat to Portimao now. I said, I'm done with Lagos. It's work is not getting done there. I have more than one uh, company here who can take up part of all parts of the tasks involved, and then we can spread the work and get it done in a hurry. So it's a matter of scheduling all of this. So once the one with the loop, this guy is installed on either side primarily, I can go take the boat out in 15 knots or more wind and sail it on a triangular course, one leg of which has to be beam reach. So they want us to demonstrate upwind and downwind and across, and just stay on that course for 5 hours. And so I am supposed to set this up and have the kit ready with all the blocks and such, and forestay and all the lines ready, and sails configured, decide what sails to use and how to use, and then go out there and after having thought this through with all the parts in place, set it up, sail it, gain the experience basically, document it, and come back uh, and report this. It'll be in a video and pictures, and another person can be there to document, but I am supposed to set it up myself. And the best time to do this is when the mast is off the boat.
Okay.
So I wanted to do this and chain plates on. So it's going to be I think it's a two-step process right now. I'm going to have to lift the boat out, start the process, let them do the paint, hydrovane, chain plates, put the boat in before we step the mast, do the thing, come back. We lift the boat out one more time, step the mast, and then less anxious.
Yeah. Well, I think this is really great. I think that that's a good thing to be asking everybody to do because, yeah, that's such a concern losing your rig out there. Um, Very cool. Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing. I wonder if are you going to be able to share that video?
I will, whatever of course, all my activities, I will be gathering footage, and at some point I need to sit and prepare clips and share that populate my YouTube, all of that.
Awesome.
Yes, I will. And rudder, emergency rudder setup, and the hydrovane counts as an emergency rudder, so I don't have to worry about that. That's going to be uh, that's going to count as my emergency rudder setup too.
That's great. That's another redundancy there. Um, so when you haul the boat out, this may be a boring question for some people, but have you picked a bottom paint, or is that a secret, or Um,
Well, it's not a secret. Simon Kerwin, the previous owner, had Nautix A9000
okay.
as his default. It's an ablative variety. He had 12 layers of it.
Okay.
And he had the best performance as far as antifouling goes. There are a few people I found out that had copper coat, which has got copper powder mixed with some type of epoxy, and it needs to be nicely polished. And the copper is supposed to be discouraging, but then it's a hard surface. And if any barnacles do attach, then you have to go in and scrape it. It doesn't peel away with the water rushing by and encouraging them to detach. So that's an issue. And I was tempted to go copper coat, and I even reached out to Copper Coat Proper in the UK. They said we can give you a race specification, higher copper dose, up to the limit allowed legally, and we could put that on, and we're happy to help. But then I'm vacillating back and forth. Like, okay, this Simon had such a good performance with the 12 layers, and I can put 15 damn layers on it. And
It's important.
why, yeah, why break the system
Yeah.
when there's look for trouble, right? So I don't want to go an unknown path, and it could be more costly. So overall, I think, reeling back to go the ablative route. Nautix A9000 will be the choice, it seems here. So
Yeah.
when I sail from here March 20th, I am going to go up to Lorient, and the original uh, uh, yacht service that did the bottom paint for Simon will order the paint for me, and then I will depart from Lorient to go to Lymington in UK and complete all the rest of the work there. The reason I am not staying at Lorient and having them do it is I need to get out of the Schengen zone. I am juggling the 90-day limit that's allowed every 180 days, and I'm spending the time here. And I will need that time later in August and until my departure on September 6th. So I need to get out of the Schengen zone, spend the time in UK, and then come back. So I'll take the bottom paint off with me, apply it at Lymington. A few other things will be sorted there as well. The mast as we had it does not have an extra track for trysail. We're going to add that, for example. That means the trysail itself may need to have its sliders exchanged with suitable one that will fit the track and all those kinds of things. So I may have a bag for the trysail and tie it right at the bottom of the base of the mast when I know that conditions are going to get stiff, and I can take it out, tie it there, ready to hoist it if necessary. Um, all these are in my mind. I'm just going through scenarios. I'm going to add two eyes on either side of the transom to tie warps of lines, right?
Hmm.
To be able to drag a drogue if necessary. I haven't decided what type of drogue. I'm tempted to take two tires with me, car tires.
Hmm. Yes, I've
Forget
heard
it.
of that.
Yeah, just take tires and then have two lines extending out and just run it as far as it'll go, and then drag that behind and see what I can manage.
Yeah.
In heavy seas, big storm, we are allowed to have a vane sail that doesn't count toward our total of 9 sails.
Oh.
The trysail and the vane sail don't count toward the total, so those are safety items. It's a 2.2 square meter patch of triangular cloth that'll be at the very bow. And I have a Solent stay that I can bring to bow and attach. It's a wire and I can hang on the storm sail to that and the vane sail as well. So that's how I'm going to hoist that. And then,
Oh,
of course, it's going to be strung to either side by sheets, and it's going to just stay centered at the bow to keep the bow downwind, basically. It's going to serve as a vane
right,
of sorts.
right.
And if
Yeah,
I'm dragging a tire in the back,
yeah,
warp lines of warp lines, uh, then it should track straight, hopefully.
yeah.
At least not.
And then you can catch up on your celestial navigation homework. That's awesome. We spoke last, you mentioned that you had a bit of a limited budget with the sales, and you were kind of going back and forth on a setup for running downwind with two head sails. What have you come to, or is there any news
I,
on that?
I yeah, I bit the bullet and ordered new sails.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm going to have new mainsail. I'm going to have everything except the two spinnakers that I have. I waited on the spinnakers because should I have a sponsor, I'd like to put their logos up on that too. So we're waiting until the last minute on those. Right now, I have just white sails, white spinnakers. Um, I have a dual track on my forestay
Mhm.
furler. So the primary Genoa, which is heavier cloth, is a very powerful 140%, I believe it was. It's very effective Genoa. So we're getting a lightweight, same size Genoa that I can raise on the side of it and double up. And it may be that I don't use the spinnaker. I would just go with that because I don't have a bowsprit. And to be able to use the spinnaker, I would have to get the pole out.
Mhm.
I got an ATN um, device. It's a horseshoe shaped thing that goes around the furled Genoa, and you can clip the clue of the asymmetric sail to that,
Right.
asymmetric spinnaker to that, and it'll keep it centered. I haven't sailed with that yet, but it is in my inventory, so those are all going to be tested this spring and summer as I'm sailing around. Um, yeah, I would like to have the option to have the double sail at the bow, that way twin sail setup. I also have the Solent stay, as I mentioned, and that also receives a Hankton lightweight spinnaker and receives the storm sail and such. So those remain. And I got a blade jib
Mhm.
that I can use as well. So those are my sail inventory right now. That maxes me out at 9 total.
Okay.
Um, and when I don't like the furled Genoa setup, I can haul out the blade jib and put that up.
Mhm.
And
Oh, well, that's good to
probably be
hear. It's good to hear that you're not going on all those old threads. That you got some new stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, who'd you end up going with? What brand?
Uh, so, one sales out of UK.
One Sales. Okay, I'm not familiar.
They had, yeah, I went right back to them because they already had the dimensions of the boats.
Ah, yeah.
Simon had worked with them, and I said, "Who's your contact? Let me have them." And then I just basically cut through the initial trial and error. They didn't have to bring someone out to take measurements, and so they were able to cut sails to spec, and that's how we managed. I'm going to meet them, and I get to Leamington in April, second half of April. I should get the new sail inventory on the boat.
That's awesome. I think that's this really it seems to be well, the situation and the delays that you're talking about here seem to be kind of a testament to your approach of I don't want to go from scratch. I want to go with what is already proven, buying the boat that's fast, that's proven, addressing the issues that that boat had, with the redundant steering, and then just going with the sailmaker that made the sails the first time around and already has everything ready to go. When we tackle these big passages or these big projects, you have all this idea about what you're going to be able to cover in a certain period of time, and it's not often accurate. If it's a new
No, I
thing.
mean, can you imagine me looking for a boat out in some distant boatyard or marina, and then negotiating with the seller and then trying a refit from scratch? It would have taken me 2 years just to do that.
Yeah,
And look at the trouble and delays I'm facing with a proven boat.
yeah,
And so right now, the issue I'm facing right now today is that we've had Storm Kristen blow through last week, and the last few days it's Storm Leonardo blowing through, and this Saturday is going to blow 50 knots here. And with all these storms and heavy rain, and it's been flooding all over in Portugal, it's a disaster, and they can't get the work done in the boatyard. So if they have to finish the work on the stock of boats that they have already, put them in the water and take new boats off the water. And I'm basically waiting to be lifted, waiting
right.
for my turn. So the earliest time that they anticipated that they could lift me was February 17. Next
Well,
week, I'm gone to Southampton. I'm going to go up there for my proficiency in medical care uh, training. This is one notch up from medical first aid training that I already did, which was 3.5 days. This will be a 5 day training. And these are requirements for the race as well. And then as a result of this, I will be certified and receive this hefty first aid kit in a Pelican case that'll have everything in it, from catheters to uh prescription drugs to painkillers to morphine included. So all of these with uh I'll be able to diagnose things. I'll be able to relay the issue, talk in their language, talk to the doctor, and then apply his instructions or her instructions appropriately when I'm given certain prescriptions or procedures to apply. So that's part of the issue, part of the requirements.
and
And so
also,
next week,
yeah, I mean, this is good. There's probably a couple thoughts on that. You know, I think, yeah, you'd mentioned this and you mentioned the STCW training on that other interview. Um, and you had a bit of an eye opener with some hot water. So I'm sure that
oh yeah.
this is a good, right? Can you explain what happened on that?
Well, when I got the boat, gained possession of the boat in June 24 at Lorient, and then started sailing across the Bay of Biscay toward Portugal with two other friends. The boat had no handrails, no crash bar. So the galley didn't have a crash bar, no handrail above the galley or in the cabin, except one rail in the middle, handrail in the middle. Um, and the toilet didn't have a grab bar either. I mean, it was quite Spartan, I should say. And I was boiling water, getting ready to pour it into a freeze-dried bag of food. And I was crouched with hot water in my hand. And Bay of Biscay, the wild Bronco ride that it was a bit of a lumpy sea. It was boxing seas around us, and the boat jumped. And then when it jumped, it tossed me, and I leaned over, and my hand hit the galley. Right, as I was crouched down, my hand hit, and when it my hand hit, the boiling hot water jumped out of the container, and it was airborne. and my face went through the airborne blob of water. And that was enough to burn my face on the left side, and my left eye was affected as well. So we hightailed it, sailed back. We were heading into the wind, and we were able to turn around and come back. In a day and a half, we sailed right back into Lorient after having been on beating into the weather for maybe 3, 4 days. And we quickly turned back, and I went into the emergency ophthalmologist, and they saw it and gave me medications and no permanent damage there. So accidents happen. And of course, I need to address that too. One of the things that I did as soon as I diagnosed the issue, one of the design requirements I had was to add, like right here, there's a
Ah,
handrail. For
yes.
example, similar handrail is above the galley, and there's a crash bar now in front of the galley, and I have loops at the end of the crash bar to put a sail tie around and clip, and so I'm strapped in, and I attached the same setup with a tie uh, so that I can stand in the middle of the boat against the divider behind the right
Ah,
here, the headboard of the settee. And on the other side of that, I have clips as well. So I can stand there, clip, so I can stand and eat
yeah.
or just stand with my hands free. So it'll be no handstand doing things, cooking or tending to things, um,
That's a huge,
talking on the sat phone, whatever.
yeah, that is a huge thing. Now, I with I've taught a few advanced coastal cruising classes since we
Yep.
taught together, and twice we've had accidents below. Twice we've had people get hurt. And
Yep.
this is the only times that people have been hurt, not knock on
Yep.
wood. And it's been in the galley because
Yep.
one hand was occupied
Holding
and
it.
another hand was, well, it wasn't being holding the person steady and they fell across the boat. And so these
Uh,
things seem like little, like silly little things. What's this strap for in the galley? It's because you need to have hands free, and also the number of times too I've had to on these passages install something like what you've done there, but in a temporary way. We did a passage making class and in a Mal 55 to
yeah.
Hawaii, and we had to install a handrail just like that. And you would think, gosh, and a Mal would have something like that, but they're not. And the boats are getting wider and wider, so it's more and more dangerous. So this is really great advice. Handrails and
So,
straps.
so
Oh, great.
here's the crash bar, and here's the strap
Yes.
that I can be inside. So I'd be right in here. I can't fall back and I can't crash in. And I can take this end of the sail tie and then clip it over here. And that's where I would stand inside that right
Right.
there. And and I can just be very well balanced. Uh, yeah, so that's the setup. And handlebar, same
Yes.
thing over here as well. And in the head, I
Yeah.
have a handbar on the high side, and so I don't get tossed away from the bowl.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no controlling this. And if you're holding on with one hand and doing your business with the other as a man, um, I decided I have to have a pee bottle, dedicated pee bottle, right?
Yep.
Use a pee bottle, lean
Yep.
against something, be very safe. Just fill this up and then pour it into the bowl and pump it away. Why spray everything everywhere? And I have limited water to clean up anyway. All my freshwater source has to last me the entire 8 months that I'll be out there. In addition to collecting rainwater, I mean, I could use salt water, obviously, but why create work for myself?
Yes.
Just
These are
those kinds
great.
of details, right?
They're great details. They're great details. I mean, we've spoken about this before. I know, encouraging guys to sit down when they're going in the head, and then yeah, the pee bottle thing. I can be handy, at the helm. I know that when we did the Pacific Cup on the Moore 24,
Yep.
Martin and I both we had our own pee bottles, and we did a presentation at a yacht club, and they were asking for three of the some of the advices to give, and one of my advices was one of my bits of advice was to have a tether on your pee bottle, and I think we were the
Yeah.
only one that
They
had pee bottles that were
a trip below deck. Keep the companionway covered up. Don't get splashed, unnecessary drip into the cabin. Why carry all of that? Just stay outside, take
yeah.
care of your business,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. It's more civilized than right into the scupper. Awesome. This is good stuff. It really kind of underscores some of the reality of this rocking and rolling out there. And I think people don't realize how much the boat's movement can lead to. I mean, everybody's probably most worried about falling overboard, but you could seriously hurt yourself inside the boat because of the motion of the boat. So and the of course dangers when you're out there on your own and away further away from a hospital than you could probably be in this modern world. That's awesome. Let me see. I'm looking at some of my notes from before. Um, I guess this sort of relates. I know that you were saying that the propane and the range was removed and there was propane. So while you're in the galley there, is that the little two burner there a newer installation or was that from before?
So the single burner,
A single burner.
yeah, has the see the red
Yes,
jug there? That's your propane tank.
Roger.
Absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
And I didn't attach it. I don't think I am going to use it. I am simply going to use the boiler, jet boil right here, and the canisters to go with that. And
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to use.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have an extra one of these that I can have in my hand if necessary,
Mhm.
a spare one, and call it done, really. I don't need to have a, a single burner like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to have the risk of leaking gas and then having a nonsensical explosion out there.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not
And
safe. I don't have a solenoid or anything, no cutoff. I mean, this is built in 1976
yeah.
boat, doesn't even have a holding tank.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that from last time. I mean, well, the laws that we're talking about are primarily built for, within the confines of a country's waters, where you're not going to be there. You're in no man's land out there. And
Yeah.
also, you probably have eaten more MREs than anybody I know in your ocean rowing and Guinness Book of World Record rowing attempts. So you're used to eating that kind of stuff, and they probably it has improved over the years, right? The MREs. Do you have any favorites?
I there are now they have nice breakfast options that have freeze-dried yogurt in them.
Oh
And
wow,
all of those freeze-dried yogurt. And I found those at Lorient. I think I'm going to stock up on those. And having extra jugs of uh, milk in cartons,
hmm
good extra liquid, right? I am going to have to go with um, the water that's on board, and any freeze-dried foods that I reconstitute would have to use existing sources of water on the boat. So I have 220 liters of freshwater tank, and then I'm going to have jerry cans of water, and I'm going to try to catch rainwater along the way to replenish those. Um, they are doing a really good job of freeze-dried foods lately. I mean, this is Summit to eat chicken fajita with rice. Just picking right now.
yeah,
Here's one. This is a proper MRE. This is wet, and it is chicken madras with long grain and wild rice. So this is all I have to do is heat this. I don't have to add water to this.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
dinner
So there was a
with chunks of
misnomer here.
ham.
It's so a MRE doesn't actually require water to be added. Is that correct?
MRE just needs to be heated. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
this is an MRE, for example. This is mushy wet inside, and this is
Dry.
to be reconstituted. And this is the other one that I was mentioning, yogurt and honey granola.
Whoa.
This guy. So
Amazing.
very tasty stuff. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
We got to get some sponsors from those guys for you.
and I had some old leftover freeze-dried foods that I had left over from my ocean rowing days. So it was time to use those or toss them. So
Yeah.
I brought them all over. I'll use those sailing up to UK and in this passage, and then I will restock. So all of these restocking food concerns, all of those will be addressed while in the UK. I am going to be at Lymington from, well, they have a berth reserved for me April 8th onward until about mid-July. Then we'll sail from there to Lorient to Les Sables d'Olonne, and then August 10th onward, I'll be on race calendar. So
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to ask was, and maybe this is obvious already, but the shakedown sails that you had planned to do, you planned to do the Atlantic crossing. What sort of
oh, I
other
didn't do that.
didn't do it? Yeah. Did you
I
get to?
didn't do the crossing. The idea was to sail across to Annapolis to meet with a sailmaker potentially, and then to pick up a friend who wanted to do the Golden Globe race and have him sail with me to Azores and then back and use those as qualifying passages. But in the end, it just proved to be too much sailing.
Mhm.
And it was enough to test the boat for me to go from Lagos in January. End of January, I left with another friend, went down to Fuerteventura, and then from there I launched alone around Cape Verde Islands and made a big clockwise loop back to Lagos, returning in March. And I was out there 39 days alone from Fuerteventura, 4,700 miles. I had to do 4,000 miles maximum. And even with that, I got beat up near Madeira by this nasty low pressure system that had cross seas and 45 knot sea winds. And I was fore-reaching with a reduced mainsail, and even that was enough to strain the chain plate for the diagonal that broke. The chain plate broke, and then as soon as I returned, I didn't notice it until 7 miles out of Lagos, waiting out a uh, squall that was right over the marina, and I was just hanging outside waiting. And then I brought the boat in. As soon as we took the boat off the water, I pulled all the chain plates, and then I said, let's replace these. That was March 25.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I left. I returned October, November. Chain plates were not done, and then they didn't get the above deck, as I was alluding to earlier. Those parts that I showed, they didn't get done until the last week that I was there in November. That's why I'm here in Portimao now, trying a new outfit. Hopefully, they will be
Right.
more responsive.
Well, that's a testament to the shakedown, the value of one, you're buying a boat that's been proven, so you're helping that whole process, but you're also shaking the boat down, and it's got a lot of miles on it. So what hasn't broke yet, and finding those things and beefing up where you can on those strong points, really really good.
So that's the goal right now, to make this boat uh, uh, more suitable for the seas that I will be conditions that I'll be facing. So one of the projects is to build a cover, not a hard Dodger tall one, but more like a fighter pilot.
Okay.
Uh,
Over the companionway?
what would you call it? Kind of, yeah, over the
Cockpit.
companionway. We're going to just cover this up and have a flat exit to the outside. I can put a hatch there or a zippered cover to make it waterproof, and I'll be able to sit in that and uh, you know, it's going to be less. It won't catch as much wind, I'm trying to say, as
Right.
the Dodger right now. Because Simon, for example, had his Dodger entirely knocked over and it broke. He had to repair it on the underway
Mhm.
to stand it back up. A big wave came and took his uh, cloth Dodger with its frame, just folded it back, and it broke it. So this one is going to be solid fiberglass with portholes and whatnot to observe
That
outside. So I'll be able to stay in there dry.
that sounds like
That's
a
one of
great.
the, yeah. So
Yeah.
in May and June, while at Leamington, we'll take care of that too. Another one of the skippers had a plug made. He for his Biscay 36, he made one for himself. So he offered to make one for me also. So I'll just go and should just sit and fit.
Oh,
And
that
then we'll
sounds
have, yeah, we'll
that
figure out
sounds
a way to attack
Yeah,
and
I
we'll
think
go.
I'm thinking we were talking about Chichester before, or Chichester. I think I remember seeing some of the Gypsy Moth design. There was like a little bubble or something. I think that's
Yeah,
really good. People don't realize how, sitting in the companionway is the best, position when you're out there. You're not blocking the way for people. It's the best spot, especially if you can be in a little bubble there. That sounds awesome. I'd love to see
I'm
these designs.
debating whether to run little lines with pulleys to the tiller
Right.
in that I can control it and I can lock it to the sides, or I can steer and help the wind vane in heavy seas. I may be protected
Yeah.
and still be able to steer, for example. It's a
Yeah,
thought.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, just like we were talking about the hazard of getting up and moving around. I
Yeah.
mean, the less you have to do of that in the really game on situation, really
Yeah.
rough weather. That's a good idea. I think that
Mhm.
well, I look forward to seeing this design. Definitely good to keep the water out of the boat and probably make it a little bit hard. The other thing about these Dodgers is that you end up, again, going to balance on them and getting thrown into them. So they have to be solid. And I've definitely seen those get broken multiple
We
times.
are we are not allowed a hard Dodger anymore. Race rules.
Oh,
So it creates too much windage, and the boats tend to broach with them
oh, interesting.
so high and wide.
Okay.
So I have the cloth Dodger now, but in the end, that may just get canceled with this new
Yeah.
uh, hubby cover for the companionway, and that's allowed. So
Oh, okay. Awesome. What else do I have here? Okay, so we did talk a little bit. I think you mentioned, doing some weather facts. Did you get to use your weather facts when you did your shakedown and kind of figure out how that old tech works? That's how you have to get your weather, right?
no, I need to get a booster for the antenna, and it requires a whip antenna, it turns out. So
Oh,
that WeatherFax setup remains still to be tested,
okay.
uh, configured, and HF radio. I have the HF radio, but the antenna was not attached. The ground plate was not there, so we didn't add the ground plate until I came off the water in March. And with the mast being down and never properly installed, until the mast, the standing rigging work is complete, I can't test any of this. So at this point, there's not a technician who can handle the HF radio in Portimao area. I've asked, so it may have to wait until I get to Leamington again. So it's one of those things that'll have to get tested as soon as I get there, and then we make sure that it works. Um, I have the weather fax itself. It requires a separate antenna. It's not the old the way that Simon had it had a splitter that could share the same antenna as the HF radio.
Hmm.
So you have a splitter and then share the antenna basically. And I'm hearing that's not recommended.
Oh,
So I just need to have some expert tell me how it's going to be done. And an extra booster needs to be in line between the whip antenna and the weather fax to receive this stuff. And of course, the outstanding problem is there aren't as many weather fax stations broadcasting anymore. That's going to be part of the challenge. This is all technology
it is.
trying to recreate the conditions of the 1968 race. They
Yeah,
probably didn't
well,
have the facts back then either. So
the yeah, we talked about that a little bit last time that the what has changed, the technology's changed,
yeah,
the number of vessels that are out there on the water has changed.
yeah.
You've got your AIS alarm and stuff. But I was starting to think of, well, what are some of the the upsides? We don't want to get political on any of this stuff here, but GPS is a military technology, and hey, you might be glad that you know all this old tech here in case something happens, and you could even rely on your GPS. Like
Yeah.
we kind of expect. So I know that in the Navy, they're teaching celestial nav again. They stopped teaching it and they started teaching it again, which seems like it seems obvious, but so
There's a message there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I joked about the Celestial Nav. What sort of resources were you using for your, you know, training on that?
I uh, I was relying on Tom Turcey's
Okay.
School of Sailing courses. I think that was very methodical. It taught me the principles of reducing the sites that I took,
Hmm.
uh, knowing the steps and putting the numbers in place and calculating it and then plotting it. I get that. Any other approach, wherever I turned, required using forms. And essentially, you were learning how to use forms. And then you were trying to not make mistakes using a form. And you were sort of straitjacketed into this one way of doing things.
Hmm.
The argument is, well, the forms keep you from making mistakes, but up to a certain point,
Yeah.
without the forms, I can't do anything, is the downside of it. So I've gotten used to simply putting down the numbers, doing the calculations. I get my corrections, and then off I go and plot it. And it's magical, actually. You're gazing at the skies and picking a number out of the sky, and then going down and doing your calculations and crisscrossing a few lines on a sheet of paper, and then you say, "That's where I am."
Yeah, it is
It's
magical.
so
It is magical.
it's
It is magical. It's good to hear you say that.
phenomenal.
It's great to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you say that, Erden. Yeah, I relate. And I know what you mean about the forms. I wonder if it's because maybe this is a trickle down from the Navy, or I wonder if it's because even when they have taught in the past celestial navigation, it really wasn't focused on teaching people who are doing it all the time. I mean, when you're doing it every day, you don't need as many reminders unless you're really sleep deprived. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, and trying to teach, how much we end up teaching the forms. And for teaching the beginners, I think it's good to have those forms, and even some of the forms that explain what they're asking you to fill in while they're asking you to fill it in, helps. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. Just doing it regularly is
Forms provide handrails and
yeah,
a bit of holding and guidance, hints as you're going through the process. But I've gotten comfortable with a blank sheet of paper and
yeah,
just start to do the work and be done with it.
yeah.
So
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm hoping that after this, all this happens, we can teach a class together sometime, and you can share
absolutely,
your,
it'll be
your yeah.
fun.
Let me see. I think that's pretty much things. I have um a note on go no go. I mean, I talk about this with my students a whole bunch, but um, I guess probably Crowhurst is an example of somebody with an extreme previous investment trap, the sunk cost fallacy. We have put all this into it. You know what? He was gonna be bankrupt if he didn't win that money, and that's why maybe they contributed to his losing it. Do you have any sort of, I guess this relates with the mental health thing. Do you have any sort of conversation you've had with yourself or with your partner about, when if it does come to it, if you got to bail out? Because I mean, attrition is a big part of this sort of competition. Um,
Yes, I am comfortable with solitude.
yeah,
I'm comfortable with uh, the challenges that the sea may throw at me, things that may stop me from continuing could be family concerns. If I get the news that, look, I need to be home,
that's a
uh,
great one. I didn't even think of that.
then all bets are off. I
Yep.
will just steer to closest chunk of land and tie up the boat and then work my way back. How quickly I can do that depends, but I need to be where I am obligated. So those are there are priorities, right? So I can only have so much fun on my own until obligations catch up. I am a husband, I am a son, I am a brother,
Yeah.
and those come with expectations. So I am not going to be denying that. I'm not going to pretend that such obligations don't exist. And I can push my limits, obviously. Nancy, my father, my brother will be understanding and will want me to continue probably and encourage me. But it's going to be one of those difficult decisions that I would have to weigh. Uh,
Right.
as far as sunk costs go, uh, this is this is a lot of expenditure on our part with Nancy. We've tied a lot of our funds to this boat and this project. I paid a premium to get this boat to save on the initial series of unknowns. Even with that, I was saddled with additional work that needed to get done on the boat.
Mhm.
So, this is a financially demanding commitment. And we are looking for sponsors. We are looking for donations. We have a GoFundMe campaign in place. We have a new sponsorship deck assembled, which is really nice, a Canva deck that seems to resonate. And Nancy is busy in my absence promoting that while I'm busy with the boat itself. Now that we are semi-retired with Nancy, she's able to put in more time, so I'm fortunate on that front.
Mhm.
But we never had a professional marketing help.
Right.
Um, as far as sunk costs go, as I was saying, we have committed a whole bunch. Could I pull the plug on this and walk away easily, I would rather not, of course.
I guess let me clarify a little bit what I was
And
let me just clarify, Erden, what I was kind of getting at was Crowhurst was out there and his boat was falling apart. And instead of continuing on,
yeah,
he kind of went in circles and and cheated, was trying to cheat. One of the things that goes on, I guess it's hard to talk about, is that we put all of our chips in, and then when the hand that we're dealt starts to look worse and worse, some of us continue on because we say, failure is not an option or turning away is not an option. I guess it's a hard question to really ask, and you sort of did answer in a great way already by talking about your family being something that you've already made a mental note to prioritize if something changes while you're out there.
yeah, yeah. And of course, my health, the state of the boat itself, how it's performing, all of those will uh, create a Venn diagram that'll lead to a decision down a decision tree. And the hope is that with proper preparation, I will be able to prevent this poor performance.
Mhm. Yes.
So,
Well, you're doing it. You're doing it. I mean, you said you paid the premium for the boat that was, tried and true, vetted. And if you hadn't done that, you'd be in a different situation. You'd be way behind. So, that
yeah,
was a good call. And it sounds like the setbacks have happened, but you're on track and the heat is on. So that'll probably help too. I wish I was.
I, I said it to another person the other day. So I said, this is a big freight train rushing toward the start line, and I'm hanging on for dear. There's no stopping it. So here we are.
Yes, well, you're the man for the job here. So I'm only sad that I'm not closer. I couldn't lend a hand. But hopefully, we'll have lots of time to share you will be able to share these stories after you're done with this and
Hopefully.
yeah, um, teaching some sailing lessons. Well, let me see. I think I got through everything, and that was pretty much an hour there. We covered everything there. Anything that I'm missing that you want to add?
Um, yeah, well, my website would be a good place to track once I leave Portimao. I haven't posted a recent blog yet. I will do that over the next couple of weeks, give an update to folks. I will have a tracking page running, and they will be able to follow our journey up to Lorient, then to Leamington, and then across to the start line. All of these are going to be available, and there are some details there as well. My background and how to contribute and how to pass on the word are all on the website. Once the race starts, goldenglobe.race.com is the place to go to see the entire fleet and how we're performing. There's a live tracking menu item at the very top right on that website, goldenglobe.race.com. And their YouTube channel and social media shares are really nicely done. And you'll be able to follow that throughout the race. So
That's
something to
awesome.
look forward to.
That was one of the questions I
It's
didn't ask.
addictive stuff.
That's good. Yeah, of course, I will include the links below to your transmissions there and Golden Globe. And this will be great because Tracker Junkies is kind of a new thing in the sailing and not even
Yeah,
sailing world as some of these races are adding technology. So it's great that we have that at least that technology available to you. And it's going to be, like I say, it's going to be some great sea stories to hear when you come in. You're such a great speaker. I'm sure you'll be doing yacht club tours and available for speaking engagements. Well,
hopefully.
if there's nothing else, we can sign off and then catch up on our own sea stories here.
Well, thank you for connecting me with your audience again, Reese. It's good to see you smile again, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, will do. Okay. Thanks everybody. Probably have another opportunity, hopefully before Erden casts off. So stay tuned on that. And hey, I guess it's YouTube, so you can add some questions in comments that you want to get Erden to respond to. So cool. I'll just cut it there. So how's everything else?
Everything else is